English Writing Skills, Punctuation Marks, Lesson 9.
In this final practice section, I'd like to review all the punctuation that we've learned in this series. I will show you statements without any capital letters, without any punctuation marks. You need to punctuate the sentences correctly.
One. Answer. After watching these lessons, I thought of a power I'd like to have. In all these statements, be sure you start with a capital letter and be sure you have final sentence punctuation. In this statement, we need a comma after the introductory phrase, and we need an apostrophe in our contraction. 2. Be sure to use direct speech here. Answer. What is it? I asked. Here we need a question mark, and it falls inside the quotation marks. Then we have a period for our final sentence punctuation. 3. Answer. I'd like to have energy without needing to sleep every night. Here we just need to remember basic punctuation. Start with a capital letter, end with a period. We have a contraction, so we'll need an apostrophe. 4. Answer. I never have enough time in a day, so I would like to have those extra 6 to 8 hours to get work done. Again, start with a capital letter, end with a period. We have a coordinating conjunction, so we'll need a comma to separate the two independent clauses. The numbers look good. We can use figures instead of words since we have numbers under 10. It also would be an option to use a dash to show that range. 5. Answer. Didn't someone once say that sleep is the best medicine? Again, remember to start with a capital letter, and we'll need final sentence punctuation. Hopefully you recognize this is a question. We'll use a question mark. And then we need an apostrophe in our contraction. 6. Answer. Jennifer's point is that sleep has a purpose that goes beyond a physical need. Sleep restores energy to the mind and heart. There's more than one way to punctuate this statement, but in any case, we'll need a capital letter to start, and we'll need an apostrophe to show possession. Our adjective clause has necessary information, no comma is needed. Now we could write this as two separate sentences, using two periods, but if you see a relationship between the two sentences, think about what kind of relationship it is. If you see that that second sentence explains the purpose, if you agree that it's an explanation, then a colon could be used. 7. Answer. Some move at a leisurely pace in life. Others jump up each morning and keep running all day long. Again, we have a statement that could be punctuated more than one way. We could write this as two separate sentences using periods. But if you see a connection between the two independent clauses, you need to identify the relationship. How are they related? Some do this, others do that. If you agree that it's a relationship of contrast and you want to show this close relationship, you have the option of using a semicolon. 8. Answer. It would be convenient to have more hours in a day and more days in a week. Nevertheless, this is simply not possible. The first way we could punctuate this statement is by making it two separate sentences. So we'll have two capital letters and two periods. We have a conjunctive adverb, so it starts our second sentence. It's followed by a comma. Because we have a relationship between the two ideas, we could use a semicolon, joining our two independent clauses. The conjunctive adverb would then start with a lowercase letter, and it's still followed by a comma. Now there's one more possibility. Depending on what the writer wants to say about more days in a week, we could use parentheses. That could be an aside, sort of secondary information. If we make it a parenthetical remark, the way we read the statement changes. Listen to my voice. It would be convenient to have more hours in a day and more days in a week. Nevertheless, this is simply not possible. 9. Answer. We should be careful about what we wish for. Recall Tom Hanks's character in the movie Big. A little boy wished to grow up, and he did, overnight. This is how I would suggest punctuating the statement. I would write it as three separate sentences. In the second sentence, we need to capitalize Tom Hanks, the T and the H. That's a proper noun. Also, to show possession, I would use apostrophe S. Now, the title of the movie is Big. Of course, it needs to be capitalized, but it also should be placed in italics. In the third sentence, we need a comma before and because we have two independent clauses. Also, I chose to use a dash to set off the word overnight. It creates a bit of a dramatic effect. Overnight is written as one word. If, however, it would remain broken up, as was the case in the first version of this statement, you would have to use a hyphen, but it is not a hyphenated word. Because I have the dash, I wanted to work it out so that I'd only have a dash, not a dash and a hyphen. So overnight nicely falls onto the next line. And overnight is surprising information, so I feel an exclamation point is very appropriate. 10. I've saved the best for the last. Here's your biggest challenge. I'll give you a few extra seconds to think about it. Answer. Telekinesis could be called a gift. This kind of power, however, would make a person different. And while it may sound exciting, sometimes what we want most is simply to feel normal, not special. There is definitely more than one way to punctuate this statement. I chose to write two separate sentences. The first is short and simple. It's an independent clause. The second is long because it's both compound and complex. Let's go through it. First, we have a conjunctive adverb, however. It breaks the flow of my sentence, so I set it off with commas. Then I have a coordinating conjunction, and. I need a comma before that. Now we have basic separation between the first part and the second part of this sentence. And is immediately followed by an adverb clause expressing contrast. I need to set that off with a comma as well. Then there is a final phrase, not special, and that should be set off as well. That creates a better contrast. It is your choice whether or not to include those quotation marks around the word special. I think special is being used a little bit differently than usual here. It's not special in a good way, but special in a negative way, and my voice reflected that when I read the statement. Listen again. Telekinesis could be called a gift. This kind of power, however, would make a person different. And while it may sound exciting, sometimes what we want most is simply to feel normal, not special.
That's the end of our lesson, and that's the end of our look at punctuation marks used in English. I hope you found this useful, and I hope your writing will be clear and accurate because of your good use of punctuation. Thanks for watching, and happy studies.
Please visit my website today at www.englishwithjennifer.com. You'll find study tips, interactive exercises, vocabulary videos, and more.